everyone, I'm Clare Davis and I'm back with Mental Health Chats, and today we have Aaron Flores with us. Hello Aaron, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. And actually it's pronounced Flores. Sorry to,
Well, I
just,
do apologise. We've had a long
yeah.
chat before this. I have actually
You want, yeah,
made sure I got it right. So
yeah,
Flores, that's a lot more
yeah.
exotic, isn't it? Would you like to tell everyone where you're located at the moment?
Yeah. I'm in LA, and I'm a registered dietitian, and I have a private practice, and as well as a work for a treatment center out here in the States, and I'm a certified body trust provider.
Excellent, excellent. And Aaron is going to be talking to us today about the male perspective of
Mhm.
body image issues, because Mental Health Chats is all about working with you for better emotional fitness. So, Aaron, why are you so passionate about the male perspective of body image issues?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And basically it's this: there's not a lot of people talking about it. It's one of those things where folks who identify as male are struggling in their body. There are definite societal pressures to be a certain way, to look a certain way, to have a certain type of body, and only a certain kind of body is acceptable. The real problem, though, is that we're struggling alone, and when we struggle alone, we feel like I must be the only one dealing with this. No one's talking about it. So I have no resources available to me that actually speak to me where I can get help and talk about this freely. And so anytime I get a chance to talk about it, I think it's important because it amplifies the voice that this is a real thing, that folks are struggling, and a lot of folks need help. They need places to talk to and open up and be vulnerable. And those spaces are not occurring very often.
That's really interesting. Why do you think it is that men are not opening up and talking about body image?
I mean, I think it has a lot to do with patriarchy and masculinity ideals, right? We assume that if we talk about our feelings, especially around our body, which is generally seen as something that women or folks who identify as female will struggle with more. As soon as we open up about it, we're seen as weak or not really, or we get teased or bullied about it. And the other part is we get told, oh, just lose weight, just bulk up, just lift more. And that doesn't really address the issue, right? It's actually doing harm when we do that. So, I think it's how we've been sort of raised within this masculine culture that any feeling we have that's uncomfortable, we sort of stuff down. And
Yeah.
the only way we know to express our feelings is through anger.
That's interesting, the anger. So the masculinity is such a big thing. And why do you think men with their masculinity are using anger to express their feelings?
Well, I think it's the only way we're allowed to. Anger is acceptable. We're allowed to be angry,
Yeah.
and even though again, and we only way we show that is usually through something violent, right? Something sort of rage, anger, where all feelings are we're allowed to feel, right? But it's like this is the only window, right, where we can like channel all of those feelings that is acceptable, right? We see it in movies, we see it in where someone comes home and they like tear down, like they actually like sort of break down their house or like put a hand through the wall, right? That's what we see is like, oh, this is how I get this out. And that's not helpful.
Mm. So if somebody came to you, they're a
Mhm,
male, and they had really negative feelings about their body, what
mhm.
advice would you give them?
Yeah. First off, I anytime someone comes to my office and talks about it, is I just want to validate how much bravery it took to come forward and say I need help. And I need to talk to someone about this because that's not, again, seen as something that we do. The second thing I think is really important is to begin to externalize why we feel this way and really examine the effect of diet culture and on the individual. Diet culture is really powerful, and it's a billion dollar industry that is telling us something's wrong with your body. And so we internalize that message. The other thing is just to name weight stigma, and that folks in larger bodies are treated differently in this world
Right.
than folks in smaller bodies. And, and I think naming weight stigma, fat phobia, and diet culture is where I first go with a lot of clients to say, this is not your fault. You've just internalized all the messages you've received in this society.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And you work with people on this, don't you? Is that face to
Yeah.
face, on Zoom, or on what method?
Yeah, with the pandemic, obviously a lot of it is virtual now.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll see folks face to face. I also do a group for men that's virtual that has been really amazing. And I think as we work together, the next things that become really important are how do we build compassion for ourselves
Yeah. Would you like
in
to
our body?
explain, yeah, would you like to explain sort of how you work with people? Is it individually? You've got the group for
Yeah.
men, but is it mainly individually?
Yeah, it's mostly individual, and it's mostly, discussions like this, to be honest. It's really trying to build rapport with folks and trying to make sure that they know that this space is an okay space to talk about these things, where you can be vulnerable, it won't be judged, right? And we can sort of start
Mhm.
to dismantle some of those things that have been circling around that are affecting your body image.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. So if somebody was interested in coming to you, that's the biggest step, isn't it? Actually
Yeah,
coming to you and making that step and realizing
yeah.
that they would like some help, you know. How would they find you? What would be the best method?
The best way is through my website. It's smashtheweightriarchy.com.
Yeah.
They can also email me at aaronfloresrdn@gmail.com. Um, I'm on Instagram, but I don't use it that much. So it's not the best way to send a message to me.
Right.
So I would say those two ways are really the best ways to sort of get a hold of me.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. You've really opened up my eyes because I did want to interview a male in this
Yeah.
series. I actually found it very, very difficult to find a male who worked
Yeah.
in the area. So luckily our first guest, Elizabeth Hall, introduced me to you. So thank you so much. You've been so open. And I think this is one of the topics that has real stigma with regards to mental health. And, our motto
Yeah.
is working with you for better emotional fitness. So this is all about our emotions and trying to
Hmm.
open up these conversations. So, if we have any men in our lives who do feel a bit conscious about their body image, let's
Hmm.
start talking about it and opening up these conversations. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you for having me.
thank you so much. And our next guest is a lady called Joyce Deboules, and she is from the other side of the world. She's from Melbourne in Australia, and she's going to be talking about body image issues from childhood, which is
Mhm.
really, really interesting. So thank you again,
Yeah.
Aaron, and take care.
Yeah. Thank you.